So coming up first is Shilpa Dureja Puri, who represents Teacher Scotch. Shilpa.
Good afternoon, everybody. We were invited to talk about the Teachers Scotch case study. I represent Publicis Modem, one of the largest global digital marketing agencies. We work with teachers closely. We've been, as a Publicis family, with teachers for the last 8 years. Though we started digital only last 1.5 years, and our efforts on social media and the social platforms have only been last 8 months. So what is that we've learned in these 8 months for teachers as a brand? I'll take you through that journey. I hope this slide brings some smile on some faces. And there'll be plenty to sort of have in the evening. It's the whole portfolio of the teachers family. What it does is, it's a continuum through the brand's journey to be able to reach out to every single individual. But what really Teachers is one of the best loved Scotch whiskies in the world and highest selling Indian blended Scotch whisky. Why did they need to be social? What was their need to go social? The fact that there was a large base that they needed to reach out to, and it is a liquor brand and there are restrictions of advertising of liquor. You can only go surrogate. How did we reach out? How do we go out and talk to our consumers? The question was, why do we need social? I think the fact that we had a preeminent position in India, we needed to be able to connect with our audiences. It was important that we go that medium. But choosing the right medium to be able to talk through that medium was important. We narrowed down after a bit of research to saying which are the mediums we want to pick on. And we said we'll go with the base and we'll focus our energies on one medium as we go along. So while we made our efforts to start with YouTube, Facebook and Twitter, Facebook did take a larger part of our mind share and say that's where the community said. But from a brand's perspective, while there was a need to get and reach out to the consumer, the question was, how do we become socially relevant to them? Idea also being that there is a brand's core objective behind it, that they needed to be able to recruit younger champions into the teachers' world. India is becoming younger. The social acceptance for drinking is only getting there. The legal drinking age across states in India, it varies. It starts at about 18 even in Goa and goes all the way up to 25. The idea was, while there was a brand's need for the product there is, how do you do it with being socially responsible? When we began, there were a multitude of questions. We knew our target audience night. We knew we had to be on the right side of the law. We knew we want to be able to reach out, create a community of passionate individuals, people who love their Scotch. That was the core objective. But how do we do a lot of things? There were a lot of questions of what we wanted to do. We knew what we would talk about. There were plenty of ideas. This was all content that was sitting as a part of the brand, information that was with us for the last 8 years. We had tasting notes. We had brand history, which was last 12, 13 years of the brand. We had cocktail recipes. We had product-specific notes. But all this was information that we thought was something we were talking about the brand. More true than we said, what's more relevant? There were events that we would sponsor, there were parties that we would throw on the weekends, but how would we get there? We said social media is not one-way communication. It's not us talking to them. It needed to be a two-way communication, and what would drive that? How do we drive that engagement going? We went back to the bottle, as I say. We went back to the piece in the bottle and said, what is there common? And the brand's core philosophy of spirit of achievement, of being able to celebrate what achievement is and be able to own the continuum of achievement through its product variants. There are about 6 product variants suiting different individuals at different age groups. There would be a single malt for a connoisseur. There is a ready-to-drink format that's just been released in the market for a younger audience. So what we then wanted to do was be able to own the term achievement for the brand and be able to communicate with the audiences through the umbrella of all the topics that we wanted to talk about. Once we got our basic theme, our basic approach to the page right, there were many more operational questions. How many posts should we put up in a day? How much is good? What little information should go, what shouldn't go, how are fans going to react, because Teachers has not gone social in any of the other countries that it is present in. Teachers India decided, being the largest selling here, saying we'll try India as a market, and it took us as their digital strategy agency about a few months to get them convinced why this medium was right for them. So we wanted to strike it right, we wanted to make it good, but we said, do we know what is right, what is wrong? When we got into the medium, we said there is no golden rule to say this works, this doesn't work. We had to get there and test waters, and we said we'll learn on the way and we'll be quick to implement our changes and see if the results come by. And gladly for us, we've been at it. There are things that we've done. There were a lot of products and information available to us. Like I said, there were category information, there was product, but there was also something that we were doing to get the achievement story going at that time, when we started earlier in about August 2010, which was the GQ Best Dressed People 2011. It was actually a list of people for their style question had that achievement to be able to get listed in GQ list. We said it had the right question of celebrity, it had the portion of achievement, it had the glam factor to it, so let's try with that. We started a lot of varied ways of presenting the same content about GQ, and we got decent impressions considered the feedback rates, the average rates. We tried different formats of using it, and we realized the same content used differently over a period of time, if you can make it more relevant to the audience, it works. We tried a lot more. We tried product information, we tried category, we also tried talking to the achiever, talking about achievement and saying, do these things work? We tried to build in a certain amount of a feeling of win and an achievement for the brand. We gave them engagement, but that was just not fun, but there was a win element to it. We said, there is so much more we're doing. We also got a lot of queries on the page from the consumer. We got feedback from them. We got their opinions. We got people telling us, that's a moment of achievement for you, I'm going to celebrate with teachers. All this was happening, we needed to be present and listen, so we were glad we had a social presence. But what was critical was, are we socially relevant to the audience? At this point, when we actually got into the page about a month down, we said we were becoming socially relevant because the consumers were coming in and talking to themselves. There was a user, a case in point with Sumendra Mohan Hota here, came in and presented his recipe on his own. There were multitude of people, users commenting on it, reacting on it. We knew we had become socially relevant because we didn't create the content. User created the content, many more people were sharing that content. They became a language for the brand that people were consuming. It almost became saying cheers to a topic became say teachers. It became a language that we've adopted from there on, saying whenever we want to share a topic, we say teachers. Something we said, we've got it. This is what we looked at in our first month of saying we were on a growth path. And we said, to stay there, what do? We said we needed to be able to take a fine-tooth comb and be able to get our analytics right. It was very important to read through the numbers and be able to implement that feedback. And since we've done that, we stand at about one of the largest Scotch user bases on the Facebook community today for teachers. We also have had a consistently high engagement and impression ratio. We also created some effort on Twitter, but I'll be next couple of months our exclusive targeted opinion coming on Twitter. But there was a mention in the conference earlier today with my respected colleague Sanjay, where he said you produce the same content everywhere. We felt differently. We tried to create different content for different platforms. While we said we needed to recruit and be able to come closer to the younger audience, we chose Facebook as a medium. But we wanted to also create a corner for the connoisseurs on the medium, people who love Scotch, people who understand and relish and sort of read, talk, breathe Scotch. We said we'll reach out to that mature audience on Twitter. And we are now going to incorporate Twitter for using that as a content piece to include in the next few launches around us. Just to cap the whole presentation, I kept thinking, saying there were so many learnings in the entire process. There was that you need to be monitoring, you need to be understanding your audience, you need to be consistent, you need to know crisis management. But what were the top 3 things we needed to if I could say top 3 things and share that across on teachers, we said we needed to be relevant to the audiences and stay relevant. Relevant, bottom line is, if you're relevant, your return on relationship with your fans is going to be higher. It's important to stay there, talk to them, show them you care, and speak to them their language. You can only be relevant when you understand what's happening on your page and not happening on your page. So it was important for us to analyze our content, read what was going on, learn from the process, and implement the learnings back into the process. And last but not the least was to be able to create that social path for our own brand. While being relevant is almost like giving an open door to your consumers, where they don't have to turn the knob, the social path was almost a journey that we had them take. And the journey's just begun. We have a long way to go. You'll see more from us coming in the next few months. Thank you.
Our next speaker is representing HVO Asia. We have Shilpa Dureja Puri, Manager, Marcom, HVO Asia.